Here we go, another weekly stock market forecast and analysis. This is week number 3 for 2023. We're in January. Markets are closed on Monday, the 16th. And so the analysis and forecast is for a short week, this coming up week here. So let's go ahead and jump into the S&P 500 first. Our top row is the futures market, the ES. The bottom row is the SPY. That's the ETF for the S&P 500. Let's start off first with the monthly chart. We can see the futures, that's the top row again, is still bearish, heading down towards that support area, about that 3,300 area. Got a little ways to go still before it gets down there, if it gets there at all. On the ETF side, the SPY, same concept there. We're still in that bearish push down. We'll see if it actually gets to that support at 320 or not. Right now, we're still looking for shorting opportunities to take advantage of that downward trajectory on the monthly. On the weekly chart, still neutral or range bound between the resistance and support areas down there. So the play here is to wait for price to rally up into that resistance, look for shorting opportunities to catch that monthly bearish trend down, and wait for it to get down into that support area to exit that short position. If it gets into that support area down there, about the 360 on the SPY, we'd be looking for buying opportunities, or I should just say bullish opportunities, because you could be using options as well. On the daily chart, if you remember last week, we had that box pattern. We were expecting a rally. That is what actually happened. And now it's rallied up into resistance at the $400 area on the SPY. So we do have resistance, really two right on top of each other here on this one. So that reversal is likely to happen somewhere in that area. We'll call it 400 to 415 area. On the futures market, really about the same, right around now, 4,000 all the way up to 4,200. So I'm looking for it to get a little bit higher before I start looking for aggressive selling or shorting opportunities here, or bearish trading opportunities. But I am expecting a reversal to happen somewhere in this area very soon. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ coming up next. Same concept, futures on top, ETF on bottom. On the monthly chart, we are still in that support area at about the 11,000 mark. So that gives us a bearish trend, but a bullish location. And we were looking at the smaller time frames to look for a bounce. We definitely got that on the daily charts. So we did get that rally from there. On the weekly charts, we can see we're still bearish, still in that downtrend. We do have two pretty solid resistance areas above. So right now, I'm just waiting for price to get up there before I start putting on some short or bearish positions. And we can see on the daily chart that range bound area between support and resistance. And again, from last week, it was down in that support area. We were expecting a rally to happen. It did. So hopefully you guys got to take advantage of that. I am expecting a little bit more of the rally to continue up into that resistance area around the 290 mark on the QQQ, or the 12,000 mark on the futures. And that 12,000 price area is interesting because anytime you have several zeros on a price chart like 12,000, that also starts to bring in a psychological number as well. Now, I wouldn't trade off that by itself, but it adds to the equation. And so that should be a pretty decent resistance or supply area for us if price can get up to that $12,000 area. If so, start looking for bearish opportunities. In fact, start planning for it ahead of time. I would expect price to drop if it gets there. At minimum, it should pause. And if it does rally after it pauses up there for a while, that's got to be a pretty strong rally to get through that resistance area. Because if you look again on the weekly chart, remember you have two resistance areas right above it, which will make it pretty hard to get through. So my money would be on the bears if it does get up into that 12,000 area up there. All right, let's take a look at a third market here. This is the Russell 2000. So this is representing the smaller companies. The top row, again, is the futures. We're using the RTY for the futures market there. On the bottom row, that's the IWM. On the monthly chart, really kind of in limbo in this one. It's not in support. It's not in resistance, really in between, just kind of floating around. So no real major directional play on that one just yet, although we can say it is bearish because it's coming down. We're in that downtrend. But really, that's about it right now on the monthly chart. On the weekly, still neutral or range bound between those support and resistance areas. Really have gone sideways, which isn't a bad thing. We're just trading it differently. That's all. And so right now we're in between support and resistance, so no major position on that yet. However, if it does get up into that 2,000, there's that psychological number again, the $2,000 area of resistance, start looking for some shorting opportunities, some bearish trading opportunities, whether it be futures, options, stocks, whatever it may be. That should be a good shorting or bearish area there for us. If it does drop down into that support area, I wouldn't expect it to hold really strong, mainly because we're bearish on the monthly and we're still bearish on the other indices as well. So that support, really, I wouldn't consider it a great or strong support. If I was a betting man, I'd probably say, hey, let's go with the resistance side first until proven otherwise. But there we have it. On the daily chart, we can see on the future side, it's right about that 1920 resistance area right there. So we're in resistance right now. We have resistance overhead as well on the daily. So we should at least get a pause, if not a reversal, in one or two of those locations. And of course, we have support about that 1800, another psychological number area right there as well. And on the ETF side, pretty much the same concept, two resistance ahead. We're at the 188 resistance right now. And then we have support about the 177, 178 area. All right, so that's it for the Russell. If you have not yet gotten your free, gotta love that price, free Trader's Resource Guide, head over to tradertactics.com, click on the free section and download it for free. There's over 100 resources for active traders. I also put on there my top 10 favorite resources that I use personally. Included that on there for you for free as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good trading, and I'll see you back on here next week.